Many bills were approved on bipartisan votes this 13th week of the Iowa General Assembly. Tuesday, the Senate debated several familiar measures, including education bills and a proposed constitutional amendment opposing abortion. The open enrollment bill, House File 228, was sponsored by Republican Senator Amy Sinclair. Democrat Herman Quirmbach argued against the bill.
To try to justify this bill that we have an inadequate amount of choice in these districts simply doesn't stand up to the facts. What these districts are trying to do is trying to preserve a modicum of mostly income and class diversity within the district so that students can get to know, get to learn about, get to identify with, make friends with, become involved with, share a community with kids that aren't exactly like themselves. Isn't that the way we ought to be building our society?
Thank you, Mr. President. The senator from Story would have you believe that this bill isn't needed based on the data. He told us that we couldn't justify voting for this bill because of the data. But I want to talk to you about something that gets at some data that he didn't bring up. And that's about the 357 students that LSA included in their fiscal note who were denied open enrollment this past year in those 5 districts with voluntary diversity plans. And I want to camp on this for a moment because these 357 students who were denied open enrollment are the reason we're doing this bill. Let's talk about these 357 students who were denied open enrollment out, and let's talk about the reasons for this, and let's talk about the blame shifting that's occurring within the administration on each of these issues. We should all be shocked. I could read on. I've got pages. I've got dozens of pages, and they're all available to you all. I could continue to read, guys. Yeah, you know what? We should acknowledge that each of these districts works really hard to maintain a balance in their districts. But when we look at denials of bullying and harassment and failure of IEPs, failure to follow IEPs that result in lack of educational attainment, all of these should concern all of us. And I would challenge each and every one of you who are listening to me, if this was your child or your grandchild, what would you do?
The Senate will pay attention to the result of the roll call. Those voting aye, 29, nay 17. The bill, having received the constitutional majority, is declared to have passed the Senate.
The so-called Life Amendment, House Joint Resolution 5, evoked familiar arguments from senators either in favor of or against abortion.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I pointed out, we have 5 unelected judges who use the power of the pen and the gavel to rewrite Iowa's Constitution. And that is why we are here today, unfortunately, because of the usurpation of power exerted by one branch of government.
I rise in opposition to this bill today for one simple reason. It's not our role as state legislators to insert ourselves into personal medical decisions, period. Moreover, as a man who will never have to worry about missing a birth control pill and will never have to carry a pregnancy, I don't have any right to tell Iowa women what they can and cannot do with their bodies.
It basically says that there is no fundamental right to an abortion. Now, why do that? Because once you say there's a fundamental right to an abortion, you are saying the life of an unborn child is not recognized, is not part of the conversation of we the people. They're excluded. They're excluded from humanity. Their reality as human beings is excluded. And is that something we're going to buy into as a state? We don't tolerate that in race. We don't tolerate that with sexism. We don't tolerate that with people of differing faiths. Why would we do that here?
Our state constitution guarantees rights to the people. That is its purpose. This legislation seeks to define what rights people with uteruses do not have. And if we are going to take that step, to turn our Constitution toward a different purpose, to withhold rights rather than ensure, to circumscribe rights rather than guarantee, to identify weakness left open to attack rather than rights to be maintained. If we are going to redefine what a constitution is, we need to reflect carefully on the human impact.
The Senate will pay attention to the result of the roll call. Those voting aye, 30, no, 17. The bill having received a constitutional majority is declared to have passed the Senate, and the title was agreed to.
For the rest of the week, scores of bills passed both chambers with bipartisan support and little debate. Week 14 begins next Monday, April 12th.